listening to the Scoop Slam Podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Scoop Slam Podcast. We are back after a huge weekend of Elimination Chamber and a lot to talk about, a lot to unpack here, Ryan. But as always, before we get too far into anything, on the other end of the call, the historian, the co-host, the guy who was my tag team partner this weekend as we were live on TikTok for Elimination Chamber, it's Ryan.
Yo, Micah, another historic week for the podcast and for the wrestling world. Ready to scoop it, slam it, and we're doing it late night tonight, just for you, the fans.
Yeah, so typically our episodes come out on Wednesdays, and we were playing it by ear because a huge storm came in. And I was like, I don't think it's gonna happen tonight, Ryan. And I kid you not, my power was gone by like 11:15, and it didn't come back till 3. So there was no shot that we were doing it last night.
Where'd that come from? Where'd that storm come from?
I don't know. Like I looked at the not radar, but like the forecast on Saturday, and it was like, oh, like 30% chance of rain on Tuesday. And I was like, oh, okay, good week. Because I work outside, I try and look at things ahead of time, and then it just blew up. And it was like, we may need to go down to her mom's for the night. We may not, because, we don't live in a very secured home. And, it got a little rough. It was mainly the wind. Like, the rain wasn't even really bad, but, dude, in a like mobile home, it ain't fun.
Yeah, I was about to say that wind got a little outrageous.
All right, so before we get too far into anything, breaking down Elimination Chamber, I do want to give a quick shout out to anybody that was in the stream this past weekend. We were live on TikTok for Elimination Chamber. So if you were there, we both thank you for hanging out with us, having a good time. We got like over 200 followers on TikTok, just a lot of people in there having a good time. So we appreciate you. We plan to do the same thing just for all of the shows. So if you're listening to the podcast and you're not already following our TikTok, make sure you do that at scoopslammedpod. It'll be in the link in the description in the bio. But I wanted to give a quick shout to anybody that was there. We appreciate you. But Ryan, one last thing before Elimination Chamber and the biggest heel turn in history, maybe. I got a champ contender cut for you.
Well, okay, what we got?
So we're going with Indie Darlings for this one.
Oh, okay, all right.
I need you to rank the champ contender cut this week is in-ring ability of these Indie Darlings. AJ Styles, Bryan Danielson, and CM Punk.
Man, are we just going strictly off the independent stuff, or are we going what they did on the mainstream?
Well, I thought about asking you before they got to WWE, who would you have thought their peak was going to be higher? But that's kind of hard because then you can't help but think about what they did end up doing. So I would just say their in-ring ability from their indie run to their peak, wherever you determine that to be.
Okay. Man, that's tough. Okay, I'll go AJ. AJ is my champ. Just because he has some great matches at TNA, man. I didn't watch much of his indie stuff because, I was like 6. But the stuff he did in TNA was Mr. TNA. And he was putting on like 5-star classics every single week with guys like Christopher Daniels and Jay Lethal and Samoa Joe, Kurt Angle. He was putting on classics every week.
I agree. I personally, if we're just speaking in-ring, would put AJ at the top just because he had such a inventive style for the time where it was a lot of flips, but his stuff still meant something. And some of the stuff you see him do in TNA, dude, like when he
innovative.
runs and basically hits a gainer to the outside on the guy, like it's just insane to see him do that. And he kind of kept the same style for 10 years, and it never really got old.
He was innovative. I think that movie talking about the Fosbury flop or something like that, where you do that little moonsault to the outside,
Yeah.
do the little spiral tap. Bro, AJ was creating moves that we never saw before, and he was doing on a mainstream television on Spike TV every single week. And like a lot of the guys from the WWE side, after AJ Styles got there in 2016, they would always say the number one guy they always wanted to wrestle was AJ Styles. And
Yeah.
that just shows like the testament of what he did. And TNA, I mean, we're not talking about, peak WCW here, but just like Undertaker. Undertaker wanted his last match to be with AJ Styles.
Yeah. I mean, that alone speaks for itself. And that, honestly, AJ was the reason I made this champ contender cut, or it gave me the idea of this, because I think he did an interview with Chris Van Vliet, and he was talking about the spiral tap, and then it was like, I just saw some other stuff about AJ and TNA, and I was like, God, dude, like, has there ever been a person that wasn't in WWE that their in-ring stuff was that good? And
he's our generation's Shawn Michaels.
Yeah. But you got your contender, and I'm very
Okay.
interested to see who you got here.
Man, we're just taking the WWE run. Are we taking the Indies too?
I would take Indies too.
Okay, fine. I'll go the American Dragon, man. I don't want to, but I'm going with American Dragon, man, because he had his early indie stuff when he was the best wrestler alive in like 08, 09, having great matches with Nigel McGuinness. He had some great matches with Seth Rollins, at the time Tyler Black. I don't know, man. Daniel Bryan's resume, he was already a independent Hall of Fame way before he stepped into the WWE ring, and you never thought a guy like that would make it and have those type of great matches on the biggest stage of them all. But then he went to WWE and did exactly that. And they kept him down as much as they could, but like Macho Man said a long time ago, the cream always rises to the top. And he got that moment on the biggest stage of them all and had great matches along the way. I don't think any fan movement can ever match what happened in 2013, 2014, 2015, the Yes movement. Bro, they would legit hijack shows. It would be segments with Hall of Famers, first ballot Hall of Fame names, and they would just drown out the segment with Daniel Bryan chants. I will never forget when Randy and Cena had that title unification ceremony, and there was like guys like Mark Henry there and Booker T and Big Show. They had Bret Hart there, Shawn Michaels, Triple H, John Cena, the Punk was there. In that whole segment, they were chanting Daniel Bryan. Like, it was crazy, man. You just had to be there to witness that. And I know we kind of, we're not big fans of his later stuff in AEW, but man, you can't deny the run he had and the great matches he had. And I don't know, I always thought he was better in ring than CM Punk.
I agree with you about the Yes movement. I do think that it was something I don't know that we'll ever see again. And a lot of people last year like to say, oh, well, the We Want Cody movement was the same. No, it was not. It was eons different than the Yes movement. And eventually they did lean into it on WWE TV, but man, that was like, you had to be there. And I wasn't even a big fan of Daniel Bryan at the time. However, I personally would put Punk here, just because I don't know. It's the Shawn Brett thing to me, and don't get me wrong, Punk and Shawn styles are very far away, and Punk himself would probably be pissed that I compare him more to Shawn than Brett. But I don't know why Brett's matches to me are very, very good. They're very technically sound. But like as a fan, I feel like I find myself more invested in a Shawn match because you care about the big moments. And it's the same way for Punk for me. Like I just find myself biting on the false finishes, and I don't know that like technical wrestling is exactly something that I just clamor for.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I never saw Punk as more of a Shawn type of guy. I feel like he's more Brett style, but kind of Shawn's attitude backstage. Yeah, I can
Well,
see that.
well, I think I don't really know how to explain it. Like Punk can be a very technical wrestler like Brett, but there's a lot of like crowd reaction that goes into it more. And I feel like I don't know how to explain it other
Oh,
than Punk
okay.
makes the smaller stuff mean more, kind of like how Shawn did.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that. Do you think Punk had better matches overall, peak for peak? Like that 2011, 2013 run from CM Punk? Do you think he had a better string of matches than Daniel Bryan had from 2013 to 2015?
Ah,
Because I think it's close. I think it's
it,
close.
it's close, but I would probably give Bryan the edge just because I feel like Punk didn't really have a lot of great guys he was working with. Like there was like a lot of guys like Ryback that he had to
When
work with during that time.
when he got with more of the part timers like Brock and Rock and Triple H, I think he had some really, really good, great matches. CM
Yeah.
Punk, I mean, which I guess you could say same thing about Daniel Bryan when he
Yeah.
got together. But the roster was a lot better when Daniel Bryan started getting hot because you did have
Yeah.
guys that could go. Did have guys that could keep up with Daniel Bryan. You had guys like Seth Rollins and early John Moxley, Dean Ambrose, and you had Dolph was at the peak of his powers back in 2013. So you had guys that could actually keep up with Daniel Bryan's style. Like you said, when CM Punk was on top, bro, the main event scene was so bad. So bad.
Yeah.
Like
And I don't
Exhibit A
know.
is right bad.
Yeah. And maybe it's biased. You ask me tomorrow, I may say Bryan contender. That's a very like hard. I feel like
Yeah.
AJ is the easy answer. The harder one is the contender because you feel like you're leaving out such a big star no matter who you don't pick.
Yeah. It's tough. But yeah. Overall champ, AJ Styles, contender, Daniel Bryan, and I'm sorry, I gotta cut Punker.
Well, anyways, we have spent long enough. It's time to get to the inevitable in Toronto, Canada. Elimination Chamber happened this weekend.
Yeah, it did happen, and the national anthem incident happened too, Micah. Were you locked in for that?
Man, people were complaining about Pat all night on commentary, and maybe it's because we were in the stream. But
Pat
like, I don't know.
McAfee.
It don't really bother me.
Pat McAfee. Yeah, I thought it was funny.
I mean, who likes their national anthem getting booed? I know not really everybody's patriotic right now, but
I thought it was funny.
yeah. I mean, I feel like if they
Just
played the Canadian national anthem here, it'd get booed and it'd be funny. Like, I didn't find it being disrespectful, but
what? Wait a minute. Why did they air that? When do they ever air that on a live broadcast unless it's like WrestleMania? When's the last time you seen
I,
that? Why did they
I
air that?
I really don't remember because I don't remember if they did it for Royal Rumble. I don't think
They
they did.
didn't. No, they did not. No, they never do that for any shows except WrestleMania. They do that because I know that for a fact. But for Elimination Chamber, why do they need the national anthem at the start of the show?
Man,
Why
I
did they
feel
have?
like I feel like they did it on purpose because of all that's
But
happening right now in the political climate.
a lot of people are saying that they're tone deaf. WWE is because they brought out Hogan and he got mercifully booed, and then they played the national anthem during the time where America is going on their heel run, and they had Drake there right after the Kendrick incident. Is WWE tone deaf, Mike?
I don't know. I figured it was something for clicks because I mean people have been talking about it, so it definitely stirred up that, and we all know Dana's involvement, TKO, and all that. So I don't know. That's just what the internet's saying.
Hold up. Oh, well, let me ask you this first, Mike, and we move on to the actual show. Does the 47th president of the United States, Mr. Donald J. Trump, does he make an appearance at WrestleMania? Yes or no?
Nah, I don't think so.
He's been at a lot of events this year, Mike. You don't think he
I
show up?
I don't think so.
He's shown up at a bunch of UFC events. You don't think he'll show up to WWE?
Yeah,
Hall of
but
Famer, Mike.
I think that was more when he wasn't president. Like, I don't know that he'll show up now as active president.
He did at the Super Bowl and at the Daytona 500.
Well, I didn't know he went to Daytona.
He did, yeah.
I don't know. We could see.
I could see
I
that.
guess I wouldn't be shocked, but I don't know what the reaction would be. The wrestling community is a very left leaning community, I feel like.
I think that's more online.
Well, yeah, 100%, but I don't know. I don't really like to get into politics on the show because we're here to talk about wrestling. And so that's what we're here for today. To start us off, Elimination Chamber, Bianca Belair versus Alexa Bliss, Bayley, Liv Morgan, Naomi, and Roxanne Perez. Now, obviously, Naomi was taken out very early by the returning Jade Cargill, which I thought was an absolutely home run way to start the show off. A lot of people expected it, myself included, but that didn't matter. It was still a huge moment. Jade got a huge pop, and I mean, she looked pissed. And it really played into the story throughout the rest of the match where Bianca was distraught, obviously, because her best friend just got beat up. Or
she put on an Oscar-worthy performance in that chamber pod.
Yeah. Or was she playing it up to maybe make Jade think? I don't know.
Yeah. I've been seeing theories out there like that. Yeah. I've been seeing a lot of people advocate for Naomi bringing up the Metaphor girls, Jakara Jackson and Lash Legend. I don't know about that. Do you think that's a good idea?
Well, they were on the main roster a couple months ago. I thought Lash Legend looked impressive because she was.
But she stunk though.
But she's what?
But she stunk though, right?
Well, she's large for the women's division, so I think that adds because they really don't have like a monster just somebody who can go in there and beat somebody down other than Rhea and Nia. So I think that element adds into it. I could see it, but I feel like they would just be relegated to being flunkies in what would kind of be a flunky group because I don't think Naomi in 2025 is main event level.
Or Bianca could be the ringleader of it all. Maybe Naomi is one of the flunkies too.
Well, okay, that could work, and then you could have like a power women group where Bianca has one world title, Naomi has the Intercontinental or United States, and then they have the women's tag team championship. Yeah. That could be done.
Actually, has that ever been done? An all women's faction like that? Have we ever had that? Like I know we had like a team of threes. We had that for a little while with a bunch of ladies, but have we ever had a faction with like 4 or 5 women?
I don't think so. Other than like the threes you said. Now that I've said that out loud, I don't hate that idea.
Are we just getting all the black people together and put them in a group? Like, is that what we're doing? Are we becoming what we spoken out against?
What we swore to destroy? I don't know. I mean,
I feel like they're all friends. Friends stick together, man. I don't know.
You know what they say? You cling to those you're most like.
Well, what if they're nation of domination type faction?
Like? Oh God. We'll call them the pain business.
Okay. Oh.
But in all seriousness, Bianca did put on a star-worthy performance, and obviously this is building to a Naomi Jade match at WrestleMania. Bianca ended up winning. She's going to face what looks to be Io Sky right now, but Ryan, I think we're going to get a triple threat at Mania, and I don't hate that.
I called for that the other week, but I thought Liv was going to be in the spot Bianca was in. I think Liv, she did okay in this Chamber match. I don't know about, her putting on a 5-star banger classic like everybody's saying. I thought she was okay in this match.
A lot of people were raving that this was her like star-making performance or something.
Cold.
I thought it was okay.
Yeah, that's what I thought. It was fine.
I don't think anybody in here was egregious. I think they have done a good job of making Roxanne look
I don't
like.
remember anything she did.
Well, they're positioning her where she's not just like a flunky from NXT. If you kind of follow the train of thought that I am, I think that they're building to maybe her and a partner of her choosing versus Alexa and Nikki Cross at WrestleMania, depending on how that goes.
Really?
Well, they were kind of teasing that the whole match between her and Alexa, and maybe it'll just be a one-on-one, but I don't know.
I thought you were gonna say she was gonna build to a match with Bailey.
Well, that could work too.
Could it though? Could that work? I don't know about that.
Do you mean like would it be good or
yeah,
the
that's my
size
next.
comparison? Oh,
I'm saying, could that be good?
I think at this point Roxanne is a better worker than Bailey.
See, Roxanne was wearing CM Punk's gear. They were in matching colors.
Did you see what Becky Lynch tweeted?
I may have glanced at it. Yeah. Yeah, man, the triple threat that you brought up earlier, I can see that working. I can see that being a great match. I just don't think that it's needed. I think it was needed if it was just Liv and Rhea. Yeah, add Io, absolutely. But now that the Bianca versus Rhea match is what was a possibility, I was hoping it was just gonna be a one-on-one affair.
Yeah, I felt the same way. Like, I feel a lot of times Triple H waits and he waits and he waits some more to finally pull the trigger on something, and I felt like he finally did it here. And now we're just getting Io in the mix. And don't get me wrong, the
It'd be a
three of
great
these
match.
women, yeah, it could be the greatest women's match of all time. I wouldn't doubt that at all. But I want to see Bianca and Rhea one-on-one because that would just be such a, like, that to me is probably the most interesting women's match that I can remember, like that I would be invested in.
Yeah, I'm sure it'd be a great match. But yeah, man, Rhea and unless they got some more twists and turns along the way, unless they got
Yeah.
something like that, then I give them the benefit of the doubt. But just looking at it, hindsight, I would have done Rhea versus Becky just straight up. Not Rhea versus Becky. Rhea versus Bianca straight up.
And we still have a lot to go on the road to WrestleMania, obviously. But one last shout out. I do think Alexa has looked better than I thought she would since she was away for so long.
Getting on the bandwagon, huh?
Might be, man. I thought she looked good in here. She is a little smaller, but I can't knock her for that when I do like Roxanne, even though I think Roxanne's stuff is a little crisper. Overall, this match was nothing that you have to go out of your way and see, but I did think it was a good start to the show.
I thought they had some good moments in this match, and overall, I'll put this over the men's chamber. I don't know.
What?
The men, we'll talk about that later, but I thought overall it was okay.
Yeah. Now, next up on the card was Tiffany Stratton and Trish Stratus versus Nia Jax and Candice LeRae. I don't remember anything about this match.
Yep.
I remember you talking about gimmicks a lot.
Yeah.
And other than that,
On your mind, huh, Micah?
No, I'm just saying that was what during the live stream. That was what we were
You didn't
talking
focus on
about.
anything else, huh? Like, but the gimmicks, huh? Well, they had
You
some
were
good gimmicks.
focused on them.
Well, they had some good gimmicks in this match.
Oh, they did.
Oh yeah, left one and the right one.
Anyways, Tiffany and Trish picked up the win as we all predicted. I don't know what did for anybody. I mean, like Trish was there in Toronto, so it got a big pop, and I don't remember anything being just absolutely insulting. It
just happened. They just wanted Tiffany to get the rub.
Yeah.
By having her right next to Trish in her hometown. Man, I want to like Tiffy, man. I really do, but she got to drop that Valley Girl accent type thing. Man. I just can't get it. I can't co-sign that. It just sounds too fake to me.
But that's the whole gimmick.
I don't like that though. Can she not do that? Can she just be herself?
I think. Well, I don't want to say that is her, but I mean,
hope
would you
not,
rather
man.
have
I
her?
don't like her.
Would you rather have her come out in a 1930s accent?
What is there a third option? Can we have something? I don't know, man. Something real?
I get what you're saying. Like it does very much feel like she's playing a character on TV.
Yeah, from like a 2004 sitcom. I don't know. It just doesn't. It don't
She's
sit right
London
with me.
Tipton from Sweet
Yeah,
Life on Deck.
exactly. Yeah, that's a great comparison. Yeah, I just don't like that in 2025, bro. Just be yourself. That's why I want
I
Charlotte.
agree.
I want Charlotte to win because of that.
Really?
Yeah.
All right. Write that down. I bet I don't want to hear no Charlotte slander. I've always been a Charlotte truther, but you just hate her.
Well, when you put her up against Tiffy, man, I take Charlotte 9 times out of 10. Yeah.
I don't know. I like Tiffany, but I do see your point. You know, I wouldn't.
The gimmicks.
No, I definitely think that her gimmick, her soul gimmick, is a little
They
bit
pointing. I don't know.
fake.
I didn't see them pointing, but
Pointing.
you say you see the point.
I see the point of her soul gimmick.
Oh, okay. All right.
Anyways, next up was a match that I thought could very well be match of the year, and I do believe that it was the best match on the card. In an unsanctioned match, we had Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens, and this started absolutely like it should have, and they just beat the piss out of each other for about 20 minutes, and...
Well, let's talk about how they set up this match, though, Micah. Did you see what the ref was dressed in?
I did not.
He had like a t-shirt on and like sweatpants and the black gloves on. Like he was about to sell me an expensive burger from like a millennial restaurant. Did you see that?
I didn't
Oh,
catch it at the
remember that.
time.
Okay, well, and then they had the hard lights off. And they only just had the lights in the ring, so it was just completely black for the whole entire crowd. I thought that was a good touch.
See, I like that too, but a lot of people online felt like that made it fake, that like it wasn't really
What?
unsanctioned.
But no, did you see what they did to the turnbuckles too, Micah? They turned them all inside out, so it wouldn't technically be affiliated with WWE. So I just thought the little things like that's a great touch. And anybody that hated on that, that's just a bad faith argument. I thought it was pretty good.
See, I didn't catch all that in real time, I guess because there was a lot going on. We were watching live, but I like that kind of stuff because it takes away. It's a couple little things that make it feel more real. I believe
Like
the thing I saw was like nothing says unsanctioned like doing the lights a certain way for the match. It's like, well, they've advertised the match. They're just not responsible for any damages. So what
yeah,
does it matter what they do with the lights?
it looked dark and gritty, man. I like that.
Yeah, it was different. It's like
Yeah,
it's like
it
they
looked
want different, and then when they get different, it pisses them off because it's not exactly what they had in their mind.
you see, yeah, that's a exactly. But do you remember that Daniel Bryan promo where he just called the fans fickle,
Yeah,
like over and over again? It just rings true, man. All 7, 8 years later. Just ring screw.
However, during the match, there was a lot of brutal spots. Obviously, the double table, which came a little sooner than I thought it was going to. We had a barbed wire chair appearance. I remember, I think Sammy did a drop toe hold and KO slammed into the chair. Didn't he do like
He did a blue thunder bomb on a chair,
on a
man.
chair?
On a
Yeah.
wire, yeah. That's the most least effective move in all of professional wrestling. The blue thunder bomb. How do you not get a pinfall off that move on a chair? And it looks so devastating too.
It does, and Takeshita does it too, and he never wins with it either.
That's crazy though. It looked beautiful, but kick out of two.
It was a brutal match. I mean, these guys really beat the crap out of each other. If you had to watch any from this pay-per-view or PLE, definitely this would be the one. Not like a lot of blood or just like extreme like ECW or anything, but they used the little elements to their advantage. We saw a ring bell appearance, which isn't very common anymore. And I just thought it was a very good match. We got Randy returning at the end, obviously, so that's going to lead into the KO Randy feud into Mania. As for Sammy, I don't know that he's going to make Mania. Just the way that they kept Randy off TV for so long and what KO did to him, it could be a while. Like, do you remember, like, he gave him one of those power bombs onto the side of the ring? And, you know, I heard, Ryan, that's the hardest part of the ring.
Really?
Who told you that? A couple guys have told me that.
Okay. All right. I'll take your word for it.
But he gave him like 3 of those, and dude, I mean, he wasn't pulling his punches with them. So I really don't know what they're gonna do with Sammy.
It was the match they should have had too. Like there was no headlock, takeover, knuckle, Roman wrist lock in this match. It was just two best friends scorned and ready to kill each other, and that's what they did in this match. You know, Micah, when you said they might hold him off Mania, I can see that happening. Because this kind of was his Mania. They had this match. Sammy had the match that he wanted with his best friend in the world in front of his home country in the biggest stadium they have in the country. So, I mean, that could be, that's a good consolation prize if you ask me.
Yeah. I mean, it would be kind of crazy as big as Sammy is to not put him on Mania, but that would be a way to go out.
Yeah, and would you rather go all out in Toronto in front of your home country, having a great match with your best friend, or would you rather have a nothing match on WrestleMania on the undercard against Karrion Kross? I mean, if Triple H laid that out to me, I would pick the former. I don't know.
Yeah. I just hope they don't turn it into like a tag match with Sammy and Randy versus KO and somebody else. I don't muddy it. Just keep Sammy off.
You know what? I'm calling it right now because you know the Royal Rumble is in Saudi Arabia next year, right, Micah?
Yeah.
I can see Sami Zayn winning that match in Saudi Arabia.
Oh, that would be a huge pop.
Yeah. Can you imagine that? And it would be a make good of what happened if he does miss this WrestleMania.
That's true. I'd have to see like how everything shakes out going into next year, who's world champions and all that good stuff. But I could very well see that, and it would be a very emotional moment, I'm sure.
Yeah, or having like a heel CM Punk and then Sammy chasing him. That would be some good stuff, man.
Yeah.
We always just advocate for CM Punk being champ.
Well, that, and I always advocate for Punk being heel just because I want one last Punk heel run.
Me too.
But overall, a very, very good match. The match they should have had, like you said, and a very good closing segment. There were so many returns on this show, but it didn't ever feel like I was sick of it. Like everything to me made sense because of WrestleMania coming in. So
everybody did return. Everybody except Roman.
Yeah. Well, God knows where he is or when he'll come. He'll probably come out of the week before Mania. Call out Seth.
Oh, come on now. What?
Leave.
No. Let's hope not. I think next week maybe in MSG. But hey, man, Randy's a psychopath. He let Sammy get his whoop for 30 minutes, and then he just walks up in there slowly, I might add, when it comes to attempt to save Sammy.
Yeah, that's what cracked me up when we were watching live. You were like, "Man, Randy's in no hurry to get to the ring," and it was like he didn't even help him either, like
No,
win the match or anything.
he has no loyalty to Sami Zayn. He
Oh,
got dressed in his gear too. Why did he get in his gear? Was he planning on? Was he going to work that night, brother?
might have went to a whole nother country
Got in his gear,
and got in his gear.
oiled up.
Pause.
I'm just saying.
No Diddy.
Hey, he looked. Hey, no Diddy, but he did look pretty jacked out there.
Every time that you see Randy, he looks like he's taken 3 more doses of roids. It's not a bad thing. It's just crazy.
I advocate for him.
Yeah, because like when we started watching wrestling, Randy was like a thin. I mean, he had some muscle on him, but he wasn't very like yoked. He was just kind of like a thin douchebag looking character.
Now he looks like Kevin Nash out there, bro. Like it hit me too because I watched the Randy knockoff from NXT. What's his name? Something Born.
Miles Bourne.
Is that okay? Yeah. And everybody was saying, "Oh man, he looks like '09 Randy." I'm like, yeah, if you put him in the dryer, bro, he's half the size of '09 Randy.
You know, I didn't ever hear about them hiring him until he kind of blew up for looking like Randy Orton the other day, and that's kind of crazy that he's deaf.
Yeah, I think he can hear a little bit because they have to yell to him the spots, which I don't know how that would work live. Because I mean, that would kind of take me out of it from seeing. I just hey, drop down, headlock takeover, just from the top of their lungs, trying to talk to old buddy. I don't know.
That's what I was wondering. I think it's like 90% or something, but it's kind of crazy. Like, I just wonder how that works. Like, how does he know, that, how does he feel the crowd? It's very interesting. But I think I think that could like work and be a very feel good character, even though he looks like he would be a ruthless heel.
I think the Bobby Boucher accent was gonna hold him down.
I didn't want to say anything.
No, you thought it. Don't make me feel
It
like
is
I'm
interesting.
the Bobby Boucher aspect.
I just wonder again. I wonder how they're gonna make that work.
If this was Vince regime in like 2003,
oh God,
it would be something. I would.
it would probably be Zach Gowen levels of embarrassing.
Hey man, Zach Gowen was over, pal. You watch your tone.
Well, anyways, boy, we're really hitting all the hot topics on this episode, aren't we?
Yeah, it's late. It's late, ladies and gentlemen.
To close up the show, we've got the men's elimination chamber. Now, obviously, the ensuing events are the real hot topic here, but John Cena, CM Punk, Damian Priest, Drew McIntyre, Logan Paul, and Seth freaking Rollins, all in an elimination chamber. And I thought that there was a lot of filler in this match.
Yeah.
But when it kicked on, man, when Punk and Cena were in the ring, those two.
Yeah, it kicked on 25 minutes in. Man, I don't remember anything the first half of this match. The only parts I remember is when it became a triple threat match with Seth and Cena and CM Punk. Do you remember anything else that happened? I think Priest was beating up Logan, and I was like, oh, maybe they'll go Logan Priest for WrestleMania, but it looks like they're gonna go Priest and McIntyre. How the eliminations happen, but I don't know. That's why I said the women's match. I thought it was a better match overall because the last half of the men's match, yeah, it was okay, and then the last maybe 5 to 10 minutes, that was really great because it brought me back to when I was 12 years old, watching Punk and Cena having their classics. It felt like they never missed a beat. Like Cena woke up out of a 10-year-long coma and suddenly remembered how to wrestle.
Yeah, it was like as much crap as we have talked about Cena on the pod or just kind of in
Deservedly so.
passing, really. Yeah, I mean, we remember the Austin Theory match and the solo match, and they've all just been like a shell of Cena. And then you see that, and dude, when he rolled Punk over and picked him up, and it was just like, it was like wrestling is art all over again.
They shook hands and hugged and stuff like that, man. I think Cena said, "I missed you" or something. I know it was a little, pause moment, but still, though, bring a grown man to tears, man, watching that stuff.
Yeah. And I don't know. I guess it's like some of the terms people find to use on the internet makes me cringe a little bit, but like
the wrestling soulmates.
Yes, that's the exact one I was thinking, but I didn't want to say it. But like, genuinely, it feels like when these two guys get in the ring.
This was a love letter to CM Punk from 2011.
Oh God.
Get out of here.
Some people need to go outside and talk to real human beings. But regardless, it really, I don't know, man. It warmed my heart from 10 years ago to see these two guys all the way down the road still be able to put on classics. However, that no good piece of garbage incel
Dang, tell us how you really feel.
Bastard Seth Rollins,
the oven mitt.
The oven mitt himself had to get in the way of my childhood and my man Phil Brooks's moment. And then we had to witness what happened after. But man, the Punk has this weird ability with me for me to buy into the character and like want him to win. And there's not a lot of wrestlers at this point.
We love the chase of CM Punk.
Yes, and they get you with it like all the time. And I bought into it, and I was like, man, he's going to win. And even you were like, dude, there's no way they're going to have Cena win. And then Seth, as soon as Seth hit him, I said, oh, it's over. And sure enough.
Seth looked like a maniac, man, yelling "die" to see him. Did you see that? Do you remember that?
I did. We have always said if Seth would drop the goofiness, he could be great.
But he don't.
He don't. He comes out like an oven mitt.
They did have a good pull-apart brawl on Raw the next night.
Yeah, that was a, oh my God, home run segment to start the show off.
Angry Punk is always going to be a home run segment.
Yeah. Called Dwayne and Cena some bald frauds.
Oh, it's just nobody else like his pro. I don't know. It's nobody that can cut promos like Punk. Once in a generation type promo. And it makes it more apparent when you see Punk in that state, cutting those angry, passionate promos. And then when people compare MJF and young Punk, I'm like, no, these guys aren't in the same league together. They're just not. Nobody is. He's head and shoulders of. There's maybe a handful of guys in the history of the business that's in the same ballpark as CM Punk as far as promo goes.
And that's a short list. I mean, who are we really looking at that point? Rock, I would put up there.
Maybe Dusty,
Flair at times, Roddy. Yeah. But like other than that, man,
it's a short list. Steve Austin, I can see that, but I mean it's short, bro. I mean we're grasping at straws at that point.
Yeah, and it sounds like, I don't know, man. What the clip I always references, you talk about LeBron's stats, and it sounds like Glaze, but it's really just LeBron is that good, and that's the way I feel about Punk, man. Like I buy into it, and so it really sucked to see that moment taken away from Punk. But I told you,
you did.
When Cena grabbed him and pinned him, I was like, hold on. Because that ain't like Cena to take advantage of something like that.
He didn't grab him and pin him. He put him in the STF and he passed out.
Yeah, that's right.
And I don't know if you remember, but in that original Money in the Bank match they had, CM Punk and Cena, when Vince and John Laurinaitis was trying to screw CM Punk over, Cena would not take that victory. Like, he left the ring and beat up Laurinaitis and wouldn't accept that type of victory. And that should have been a red herring for all you long-term fans out there, that Cena took the easy way out here. That's not the Cena way.
Yeah.
So that was kind of like, yeah, wait, hold up now. We might be getting something. And then the whole aftermath was, I mean, we'll get to it, but.
Well, I mean, we can segue into it now, because
Okay.
I'm sure everybody listening has seen this, heard about it from your friends. I mean, I don't know about you, Ryan, but I had people calling me after we went off the air, like, asking me about it.
Yeah.
So, I said it then. I'll still reiterate my same statement. I still think it's bigger than the Hogan turn. And it was an absolute masterclass, because even the people that expected it, I don't think really expected it.
You know, man, we'll talk about it, because I got a champion tender and cut for you next week about the greatest heel turns in the history of the last 30 years or so. So I'll get my opinion then, but I want to take us back, Micah. The good old Sean Ross Sapp tweet from February 21st. Can I take you back, Micah?
Yeah. You got a receipt here, Ryan?
I got a receipt, because he's deleted this. So, that's what he does. But
that really goes to show.
Yeah, he deleted right after the show ended. So, it goes to show what kind of sources do you really have, Mr. Sean Rossett? But anyway, it goes back from February 21st, 2025. Sean Rossett from Fightful.com. I'm sure everybody knows. He tweets out, "If anyone wants to apologize for being rude when I said there was no plan after him coming out, him being Rock, and throwing up a bunch of fingers at Bad Blood, I forgive very easily." There was no plan, huh? There was no plan.
And the crazy thing is,
this wasn't planned, Mike.
The 3 is the same thing that Cena holds up.
And it's even more crazy, Micah, when you think last year when the people screamed from the rooftops, "Oh, this wasn't the plan. They never planned this." It's crazy how they just backpedal into a great WrestleMania build and great WrestleMania moments, and when they just didn't have a plan, huh? Nobody had a plan, huh, Micah? I got one more thing, Micah, and then we can talk about the actual turn. But I got a Cody Rhodes interview from when was this? This is from the Unlikely podcast. This was back in October. He was doing an interview, Cody was, and they was talking about the build to WrestleMania, the one that's coming up, WrestleMania 41. And the guy on the show, Adrian Hernandez, asked Cody about it. And Cody says, "Well, I mean this, and I don't mean this in like a smart aleck type of way, but Rock is the director of the board, the man that is the final boss. Dwayne Johnson is different from the final boss and outside the box thinking with Nick Khan and Triple H. It's part of the WWE record era, part of the WWE Netflix era." Cody's all over the place here, but he puts he says whether he's in the ring, whether he's not, he very much is still very involved with what happens at WrestleMania 41. Cody talking about The Rock. "I know when he comes back, I know who he'll come back looking for. I know what to expect, but what can I say about WrestleMania 41 is keep the rumors going, keep them churning, enjoy the discourse. But I think what you will get will surprise you all." But there's no plan, though, Micah. They didn't plan this, Micah. They didn't plan on any of this.
2 things. First, how many times do we have to say this on air, off air, to just each other? And how many times do people have to get burnt to realize that this WWE regime is not the same that everyone is used to. Like, they keep things so close to the vest. Like, it's happened over and over and over again. Punk's return. This. The whole Mania build last year. And everybody's like, oh, they don't have a plan. And they just believe the bull crap. And I'm not even really trying to dog on Sean Ross Sapp or Ibu or anybody like that. But it's like, dude, take these people with a grain of salt they don't really know and watch the show and then get your opinion then and see what happens then. Now, admittedly, I'm somebody who a month ago put a TikTok up that said, hey, well, the build to WrestleMania is really lackluster. And have I been proven wrong? Absolutely. And will I admit that I've been proven wrong? Absolutely.
You're not going to go delete the TikTok, though.
No, not at all, because I'm not ashamed of that. Wrestling media and wrestling as a whole is a very opinion-based thing. So just because I'm wrong doesn't mean that I have to be a tit about it and not admit that I'm wrong. I was wrong, and now I'm locked in.
Yeah, we're giving you an opinion, and we don't charge you $15 and give you our opinion, and then be wrong about it and not admit that we're wrong about it. We don't do that, but that's what the dirt sheets are doing nowadays, man. You got to take, like you said, you got to take whatever they say with a grain of salt, because these guys do not have the sources they used to. They don't.
No. And secondly, do people really think that they don't make backup plans for WrestleMania? Like, do people really think that there's just one thing they're going to do and they're never going to pivot from it? Oh God, what if Cody Rhodes gets hurt at the Royal Rumble and can't make Mania? Then what? But it's like, nope, Rock's not working Mania because there's only one draft for it, and so that's what we're doing this year.
Yep,
come on.
Dwayne has to come in and get his stuff over. He doesn't know what he's doing. He just ruins Triple H's planning. Like, shut up, bro. Just enjoy the ride the Rock is taking you. He's taking us on a ride 2 years in a row. He's injected life into 2 WrestleMania builds. We had a once in a lifetime build last year, and we thought nothing's gonna top that. And then they go and top it this year with the Cena heel turn.
And so, for everybody who has spoke ill on Dwayne's name, and he might not be a good person outside of wrestling. He might be this. He might love the camera. He might love the attention. He might be a bad actor. But there's one thing that you can't say about The Rock, and that is that he doesn't make wrestling interesting, because every time the guy is on the screen, it's must watch. And for the past 2 years, we've been like, oh, Dwayne's involved. And then a month later, you're like, oh my God, this is the greatest thing I've seen from WWE in years. This was on First Take on ESPN on Monday.
Yeah, but Dwayne's out of touch with reality. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's an egomaniac that ruined Henry Cavill's acting career.
So, at the end of the day, I don't really know about the acting and whatever else. But you can't tell me the guy is not crazy about wrestling and is not doing things that just get people talking about wrestling. And this angle and last year's angle have been some of the biggest and brightest things that WWE has done in years. So you told me a couple months ago and I didn't believe you, and I said I would eat a lot of crow, just like I've said about a lot of things in the past couple months. I'm just going to enjoy the ride that The Rock's taking me on.
It's insane when you actually, like, I can't believe we're talking about this, but in the year 2025, John Cena's farewell tour, how much money is he leaving on the table with all merch sales and stuff like that, Micah? But he's doing it he's turning heel, man. This is happening.
Oh, yeah. And that's the thing. We've harped on long enough about this. Let's talk about the absolute insanity of this. Why in his last year, where it's the easiest way to just get everybody in the door to say, this is the last time you can see John Cena. And he comes out and he does a little shuffle and he does everything. And it's a feel-good moment because you got to see John Cena one last time. How insane is it to flip that on a complete 180 and just do the absolute opposite?
Yeah.
And I love it. I was
Oh,
thoroughly pleased with this segment, and I'm so much more interested in a John Cena run now than I was before. And it's also crazy because we hadn't even talked about this. Cody said, "Go F yourself" on
Live.
live WWE television with no blur.
No censorship. Crazy that they will censor the crowd on USA. But they won't censor Cody Rhodes telling Rock to go F himself.
So,
That was
all
a
in
huge
all,
got a great pop.
yes, it would have been probably the biggest pop of the night if it wasn't for the thing that followed after.
Can we just walk everybody through it real quick?
Go ahead, Ryan. I'll let you take the
Okay,
lead.
all right. Okay, so Cody tells Rock to go F himself. Crowd loses their minds. They're going crazy. All of a sudden, Travis Scott, he's there with the final boss. I mean, maybe to signify that this is a Hollywood faction. And Travis Scott pulls out something from his pocket and he starts burning it. And the commentary, I think, was it Pat? Pat was saying that he was burning sage. And I believe that's to ward off spirits, Micah. I don't know if you know the significance of burning sage, but
Only from Kyrie.
from Kyrie. But yeah, so you knew something was going down. And then Cena was hamming it up like he always does. But the fact that he was still in the ring, you knew something was about to happen. And Cena was hamming it up and laughing at what Cody said to The Rock. And he daps up Cody Rhodes. And he pulls it in close for that, the dap when you half hug somebody, Mike. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah,
Everybody
got
knows.
to.
Yeah. The camera pans over to John Cena's face, and it's just no more smiling, no more of that cheesy grin. It's just a stone face. And then the camera pans to Dwayne. Final boss makes the throat splash, just like he did at Bad Blood, and throws up the 2. And all of a sudden, crowd starts to realize what's happening. Cena pulls away from the hug, draws back, and kicks Cody square in the nuts. All of a sudden, hell froze over. Like it's one of those moments where you would never forget where you are. It's like when you found out Undertaker got beat by Brock at WrestleMania, or when Seth turned on the Shield. It's like that, man. It's like a moment that you'll never forget and never forget where you're at when that happened.
Yeah. And that was the exact conversation I had with one of my buddies. Was like, I had the same reaction when Taker lost. Just kind of an absence of a reaction. You just kind of sit there stunned because, oh my God, like who? And even when Cena was still in the ring, I thought somebody else was going to come out or something. Like I still didn't think until they went in for the hug. I was like, oh.
He didn't just beat up Cody. He brutally beat up Cody.
Yeah,
Cody
left him
bleeding.
bloody.
Bro, he pulled off the watch, the Rolex that Cody gave to The Rock, and he started beating him with the watch. It's just something that you never thought you would see. It was like Omni-Man starting beating up everybody at the end of season 1. I don't know if I just spoiled that for anybody else, but just felt like that, man. Like, oh my God, what is happening here?
Yeah. And Travis Scott peppered Cody. I really, a lot of people are hating on Travis Scott being there, and I admit that it was a little odd, but like, people love to say, oh, well, WWE has a hard-on for involving celebrities. Dude, they've always involve celebrities. Literally, WrestleMania 1 main event had Mr. T in it. What?
I was just about to say, what you mean like they always done at WrestleMania?
Yeah.
Or
Or
how's that any different from the NWO having Dennis Rodman and Karl Malone?
how's it any different than Big Boom AJ having a pay-per-view match at the last pay-per-view and this pay-per-view? And I'm a fan of that. But dude, like, celebrities in wrestling is a match made in heaven. Why are y'all hating?
I think a lot of people were driving the joke into the ground too. Like, oh my God, why is Travis Scott there? Like, it felt like every other comment was that.
Yeah. And it was a little odd, but I don't know if you saw the clip after when he got backstage. You could tell he had the bug. Like, he wanted to be in the ring. He enjoyed it. Like,
apparently he's been training. Did you hear that?
Yes, and I'm a fan. Everybody loved Bad Bunny's match a couple years ago. Why are they mad about this?
No, they were mad about Bad Bunny too. Before it happened, when nobody knows who Bad Bunny is. It's the same people that are saying, oh, nobody knows who Travis Scott is. Like,
That's
those type of
ridiculous.
people only listen to like Eminem or something like that. I can just see them. Oh, I don't. He does that mumble rap. I listen to real rappers like Eminem and the Beastie Boys.
And NF.
Not NF.
And Tom
Hey, hold up.
McDonald.
I went through an NF phase, bro.
Oh, come on.
I like NF, man. Come on now.
Nah, I can't rock with that. I can't co-sign that one.
I thought he was deep, man.
Now I like J. Cole.
I like J. Cole too, yeah.
But anyways. Whoa. You say that in 2025?
Hey man, I'm standing 10 toes down. Man, he was there. He stayed
He
the whole
was.
night.
Is
They
it
didn't show him on
Stacy? So, anyways, to encapsulate all of this, what we all thought was just going to be kind of a B tier pay per view before WrestleMania turned out to be what could be one of the pay per views of the year by far because of the angle. I thought the men's chamber was good. The Sammy KO stuff was good. The women's chamber had a great angle to start off, great angle to end. Like, the whole show was great. I give it 9 out of 10, and my enthusiasm for WrestleMania is exponentially increased because of what this show did, and that's exactly what this show is supposed to be on the road to WrestleMania.
The new 2-man power trip. Something that, I don't know, it feels like a fever dream, bro. Like, heel Rock, heel Cena against Mr. AEW Cody Rhodes.
Yeah.
If you was to tell me that in 2018, Micah, I would have to drug test you. I don't know, man. How crazy is that?
And, I feel like we are praising The Rock a lot here and Cena. Cody deserves all the praise in the world for being such a big baby face to ignite The Rock to want to do an insane program like this.
How much is he liked backstage? To get Cena to turn heel, to get Rock to turn heel, to get Brock Lesnar to turn heel. Like, how much do they love Cody backstage?
He is a worker's worker, evidently. Like, everybody loves him, and he's like somehow came into WWE and he was there before, but he came in and he felt like he's been there for like 20 years. Like, he never left, and everybody just loves him and they want to work with him, and he's so over that he's got the biggest stars of the last 20, 30 years clamoring to work with him.
And I thought about something too, Micah. Do you remember the tagline to that when Cena and Rock teamed up in 2011?
I don't.
It was at the main event of Survivor Series 2011. It was never before, never again. Cena and Rock teams up. I don't know. I think we might get another tag match. Maybe at SummerSlam.
I could see it.
They got 2 nights to fill.
Yeah.
I can see that.
And I do feel like we eventually get a Cena face, like this all culminates. But man, I just need them to show up. Like, that's the one thing that irked me was Used
Cena should have
to,
been there. Cena should have been
yes,
there Monday.
that irks me, man. Like used to when we were growing up, you know how what when an angle ended on the weekend like that, they were on the show the next
That
night.
was the
You've
first
got
segment.
to be there.
That was the first segment or the last segment. You were gonna,
Yes.
and they maybe wasn't gonna say much. Maybe they just come out and says you don't deserve an answer right now. But it doesn't. They were there. Cena not being there for the next 2 weeks. That sucks, man. That stinks. That kind of deflates the angle for me personally. But I mean, it could still turn into a great lead up to WrestleMania. I just think that they're losing a lot of momentum by not capitalizing on it. By not having them there for the first 2 weeks.
Wait, I thought he was. I didn't think it was going to be that long. I thought he was probably going to be on the show at MSG.
He's not advertised. Roman is. He's not advertised. He's advertised for the first show in the UK the week after that. But he's not advertised till then.
Nah, that's crazy. They got to get him on the
No.
MSG show.
They just advertised him for 3 SmackDowns right after WrestleMania. But he's not advertised for anything until Monday Night Raw.
Dang.
I know.
Because that's what would have been the home run was to have Cena or Punk open Raw like he did, and then have Cena come out of the end. Like that would have been
man. No music
wow.
either. Like, can you imagine just no music? Can you imagine what that first promo is gonna sound like? What is he gonna do?
What music is he gonna come out to? That like there's so many unknowns about this.
I know it just I'm getting excited talking about it, but
Yeah.
It's gonna be interesting. I wish he was there on Monday, but we'll see when they go to the UK.
And maybe he'll be there next Monday. But as you can tell, we very much enjoyed it. As I said at the beginning of the show, if you stopped in, you watched Elimination Chamber with us this past weekend, thank you. I'm tripping on my words because it's like 2 a.m. But thank you guys for listening to this episode. Make sure you come back next week. We didn't talk about AEW today, but next week we're going to have the AEW Revolution review. If you are not following our TikTok, make sure you do that because maybe live this weekend for AEW Revolution. So if you're not there, click the link in the bio. It'll take you straight to our TikTok and all of our socials so you know we're scooping and slamming next. As always, thank you for listening. Take care of yourself and have a good one.